Okay, so this is the first day of T2RLengage in London. My name is Lee Hayhurst. I am the editorial director of Aviation Business News, and we've come to the stand of the headline sponsor this week, Sabre. You can see behind me a nice logo and a bit of information on what they're talking about this week. Mike Reyes has joined me. Mike Reyes is the Vice President of Product for Sabre.
Yes.
Mike, welcome.
Thank you very much, Lee. Thank you for having me on.
Not a problem. So you've just come off stage.
Yes.
We actually did know what you were going to announce because it was announced yesterday. We covered it on ABN yesterday.
Oh, good.
But you've now got a launch partner for something called SabreMosaic.
Yes.
Okay. Let's start with that because we'll go into the launch partner in a minute, and we heard on stage from them about what this means for them as a company, as an airline. But what is SabreMosaic? And just a bit of background to it as well, because I know it's quite interesting.
Yeah, sure. So SabreMosaic is our offer, order, settle, deliver, really our next generation retailing platform for our airline customers. The background is, and we're here at T2RL, which is kind of the epicenter for these kinds of discussions around the technology that underpins the aviation industry.
Yeah.
So in particular, the historical, what's called the PSS, the Passenger Service System, or the Airline Reservation System. There's been a groundswell across the last 5 or 10 years about how the airlines want to get into the business of selling not just airline tickets, but ancillaries, third-party content, even delving into this line of what you would traditionally consider OTAs or online travel agents, et cetera. And the conclusion that industry bodies, that IATA, T2RL, et cetera, have reached is the current technology footprint, those existing PSS systems, while really scalable, highly optimized for the job of selling airline tickets, they're not ready-made for this retailing problem that the airlines want to take on.
Yeah.
And so what SabreMosaic is our answer for what comes next beyond the PSS to allow our airlines to better retail additional products and services beyond just those airline tickets.
Yeah. For the layman out there, or the even person in aviation who's not an expert in the retail, this side of it, the retailing side of it, it's been described to me in the past as being like, say, Amazon set up to sell books with a particular platform designed to sell books.
That's exactly.
If they'd have
right.
tried to sell everything else the way they sell books, we wouldn't be talking about Amazon today.
No, that's exactly right. It's if they decided they wanted to get into the retailing model today, where I can buy khaki pants, a basketball, and a book.
Yeah.
But they tried to take that transaction of those three things and said, oh, khaki pants, who's the author? Is that hardcover or paperback?
Yeah.
It wouldn't make any kind of sense.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what the airlines are trying to figure out is the existing reservation system, highly scalable, highly optimized, but it's around airport ABC to airport DEF.
Yeah.
It's around what's the fare class, what's the filed fare, what's the price quote, all this kind of industry jargon that the consumer doesn't care about, doesn't care to know anything about. And really what we want to do is enable those consumer experiences while really replacing and modernizing the underlying kind of technology.
For the uninitiated out there, if they don't know what the PSS is or how it's built, without going into too much detail, the way it's built, and was built back into the 60s and 70s, it's got some underlying restrictions on what you can do. It simply isn't built to reflect the modern day, is it?
Absolutely. Well, when you think about, and it was Sabre and American Airlines together that came up with the first PSS, when you think about the problem they were trying to solve, you were trying to transmit data over 9,600 baud copper wires between airports on the other side of the world and travel agencies, oceans and all that great stuff. So that's why airport codes are abbreviated with 3 letters. That's why we can only sell 26 different price points, is because at the time, like you said,
it's the alphabet.
That's the amount of
the
size.
alphabet.
That's the size of the packet you could put through the pipe.
Yeah.
Today, not nearly a concern. And so what that means is if we want to come up with a broader, more rich customer experience, we have a whole set of tools that we didn't have 20, 30, 40 years ago.
Yeah. So there's a few clues in the name of the product.
Sure.
As to what it does.
Yes.
The AI is important.
Yes.
But the name Mosaic. Let's start with the name Mosaic, because you explained on stage why that reflects something really important and integral about.
Okay, so for those of you in the English-speaking world, a mosaic is an artistic term or a concept whereby individual pieces can come together and form something much more beautiful and bigger than those individual pieces together.
Yeah.
So for us, as we thought through what are our airline customers looking for, long term they want modularity whereby they can pick and choose different revenue management systems, airport systems, financial accounting systems, And for us, we decided one of our technology principles early on was going to be that modularity.
Okay.
That is, we were not going to go into the airline world and tell them, we got this beautiful system, the only way to make it work is to take it soup to nuts, A to Z.
Yeah.
You can pick and choose your own modules, you can integrate into your own environment, and we can help you do that. So hence, we thought the name Mosaic was entirely appropriate, whereby you can take the pieces you need, but the more you take and put together, you can really put together something beautiful.
Soup to nuts, I love that. and the idea of modularity, it doesn't require that you to be open, although the word open is interesting in terms of technology, but often they go together. They don't necessarily have to, but they do. And I think in this case, you're saying they do come together. There is an openness about it.
Yeah.
But to what degree? Everyone's talking about open tech, and there are different views about how open you're going to be, especially in an airline industry where there's a lot of risk involved by being too open. But how open is this tech? When you say you can plug in modules, do you have literally you can plug anything in you want, or are there limitations to it?
I'll give you a great example. Not that anybody would ever do this, but if you wanted to change the prices of your seats based on a customer's shoe size, the example being that people with large shoe sizes tend to want extra legroom.
Okay.
So if you had some magic database of shoe sizes and you wanted to say, oh, wait a minute, this person has a small shoe size, they're probably not going to pay for the extra legroom seat, let me not offer that. Totally open, we can do that, it's just a customer attribute.
Yeah.
So for us, the idea of, I don't want to restrict how you come up with your offers, your prices, your what you put on the shelf based on some notion of what were the fare classes, what were the filed fares, what airport, what country do you operate. We want to give you that total flexibility to create, to operate, to serve. That's exactly what we mean by openness. So the airline or their partners can come with any kind of combination. And for us, because we built the technology from the ground up, cloud native, all that great stuff, all those buzzwords that we can talk about.
Yeah.
For us, there's no restrictions in terms of how the airline wants to construct and market to their customers.
So the openness comes around the integration and interoperability, which is mentioned.
That's exactly right.
Earlier. So if you're an airline, you can use the APIs
Absolutely.
and develop onto the system.
That's exactly right.
What you're talking about.
That's exactly right.
Okay. So look, the other bit of the Mosaic name is the AI bit, which is highlighted in the logo, and for good reason, because you'll be working with Google on this, which of course is one of the forerunners and one of the great pioneers of tech general, but certainly in AI.
Sure.
Just explain what AI is going to be doing for you in this new world, in this new technology.
So I'll go back to our ancillary pricing example for this. So what we saw, recall it the last 5-something years, is as airlines have gotten more and more clever about how they come up with prices for their seats. I mentioned some have extra legroom, some people prefer bulkheads, some people prefer window versus aisle.
Yep.
Well, just now I mentioned 4 different attributes by which airlines will want to modify their seat prices. When you get into the math of, well, how many flights a day do I operate?
Yeah.
Do I operate morning, red eyes, middle of the day, etc.? You can quickly get into a world where 10 times a day, 100 different flights, 4 different attributes around legroom. You can get into a world where you can come up with tens of thousands of different combinations.
Those numbers start getting crazy, yeah.
That becomes impractical for an airline to maintain a table of 100,000 different rows saying, if this, then this, then this, then this. Here's your price. What AI allows us to do is leapfrog that rules-based if-then methodology and look at, well, what do previous demand patterns tell me about people prefer to assign seats on red eyes, people don't want to buy seats on short-haul flights because they're going to be on and off the plane in 45 minutes. Using AI to kind of unearth patterns that an analyst would either find impossible or really time-consuming. That's the promise of what we can do with the technology.
It's intelligence, isn't it? So so you can literally price every flight differently.
Absolutely.
Based on its apps at the time of takeoff or any attribute that you think actually changes demand.
No, drive a ton of customer value because you find those patterns that can help you find a customer that you would have attrited or not converted in the first place by giving them that perfect price at the perfect time.
And that takes you down a dynamic pricing route, which again is something that's already been mentioned this morning.
Sure.
Dynamic pricing's had a bit of a rough time in this part of the world recently because of the Oasis tickets.
You
probably heard that. So there's a bit of, probably customer pushback on that, to be fair. Like people don't trust it. But I guess when done well, actually, it should be something that customers should embrace, I guess, because they should be getting the right deal for them? Is that how pricing should work?
That's
in the best.
That's a really good way to describe it, because really, what you're dealing with is supply and demand in any context, whether that's Oasis tickets or seats on an airline. What you're dealing with is perishable inventory. If Oasis is going to play on August 5th, it does you no good not to sell at the stadium until August 6th. Yeah. So Oasis might be a poor example, and probably why they found themselves in a little bit of hot water is because the demand so outweighs the supply that they get into this feedback loop where the prices just keep spiraling. Yeah. That's not really the case more often than not in the airline industry, where they have the same number of planes, the same number of seats on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, all throughout the week. And so while they will operate very high demand flights, particularly Monday morning, returning Thursday night, you'll operate a lot of weekend flights where customers aren't willing to travel or aren't willing to pay those same prices that business class fares. And really, that's what dynamic pricing can do, is it can find better market clearing prices to help the airlines sell that perishable inventory, oftentimes at steep discounts.
Yeah. It sounds like, and also it's control, isn't it? It gives back control to the airline in many respects.
Oh yeah.
But in today's world, once the inventory gets out into the wild, they sort of lose a bit of control over their own inventory. You know, you've got the OTAs coming in, you've got people looking for error fares and all this stuff, and it doesn't really put the industry in great light when it really all it says is there's a deal to be had out there. You just got to go out and find it.
And that's what's so fascinating about this industry is everybody in the world loves to travel, right? As you get the emerging middle class in different markets around the world, one of the things people do once they have enough kind of wherewithal and disposable income is they want to fly, right? They want to go see friends, relatives. They want to visit the Caribbean. They want to visit Stonehenge. They want to go fly to the Oasis concert. And so really that's what we do, is connect people and allow these airlines to better put their offers out there, put them on the shelves, and ultimately get them in the hands of those customers.
But those people, they never brag about how much they pay for the flight, whereas they might put a few grand on a watch or a car if they've, just to show off. So that's an interesting dynamic in airlines, in the airline world. Let's move into talking about what you now have a launch customer for.
Sure.
So up until literally yesterday, SabreMosaic was a product that you talked about in terms of more the principles of what it would do. Today we can talk about the practicalities.
Sure.
And you shared the stage a minute ago with David from Virgin.
Their Chief Information
Australia.
Officer, yes.
Yeah. Talk to us about how that came about. I mean, they're already a customer of Sabre's and they've moved into this platform.
Sure. So they've been a customer of ours for probably going back close to a decade, if I get my times right.
Yeah.
We've had a relationship with them on the distribution side, on the reservations, passenger service, the airport side, et cetera. So they've been a long-standing partner. A few years ago during the pandemic, as they were going through a change in ownership, bringing in new management, they really approached us and said, look, we're evaluating our long-term technology footprint and what that means for the airline we want to be 2 years, 5 years, 10 years down the road. And they said to us, can you tell us what your long-term strategy is? And so that's when we started talking about what today you're calling SabreMosaic, but about this world of next-generation retailing and AI, and how we saw our own partnership with Google kind of underpinning a lot of this. And we talked to them about this notion of, like, the PSS, what you currently take these bookings in, the notion of what that technology does today is going to evolve. And what we're starting to see in the industry is this concept called order management, one order. Yeah. And they said, oh, interesting. So tell us about your roadmap, how you're thinking about it. And as we started having these discussions over the last 6, 12, 18 months, they said, we think we'd like to be your launch partner for this. We think we'd like to join forces, shake hands, do a long-term technology agreement by which we agree to help you build out, implement, and ultimately consume your offer, order, next-gen retailing technology. And it was just, I would say, a great partnership as we were discussing this, and really happy to announce them as the launch customer this week.
What are there are advantages of being a launch customer? No doubt, first mover advantage. There are also potential risks to that as well. But what makes for a good launch partner then? Why Virgin Australia is so exciting for you?
One of the things that's really cool about them is, I would say, they're very pragmatic versus dogmatic about what they want to achieve using the technology. So as David mentioned here at the conference, they operate, and I'm talking Sydney, Melbourne, Brisbane, and up and down that kind of east coast of Australia. They operate in one of the most dense, highly trafficked, competitive markets in all of aviation. And so when they look at their competitive set, what they need to do to really reach out and convert customers, get them on board their flights, they said, we want a technology partner that can help us think through what does that mean for pricing, what does that mean for customer value, what does that mean for moving people between all of our different flights that we operate in these routes. And they loved what we were talking about in terms of whether that was pricing, bundling, discounting in the arena of competitive pricing, things like that. And they wanted to be a part of it. So for us, when you talk about being very pragmatic about, nobody truly knows what the end state of this Amazon of travel concept looks like in 10 years. Virgin Australia was the first to say, we also don't know what we're going to need out of technology in 10 years, but we want a technology partner that we can be comfortable is going the same direction with us, where we can influence what your technology roadmap is, and ultimately help you with the launch customer.
They've got the innovative mindset. And it's a mindset, isn't it?
Absolutely.
To go out and do this rather than talk about it.
For sure.
Which is really exciting. The other thing that was said in this session was this is a business that is now profitable again, having had 11 years of not being profitable. So they've already done a really quite remarkable business turnaround in terms of the core foundations of the business, and that's obviously post-COVID when nobody was profitable for a number of years. So that is also a good sign of maybe is that a prerequisite of a company that wants to innovate? It has to be able to invest, and you can't invest if you're not profitable.
Well, I can say a hallmark for us when we talk to these airlines is they have to be very forward-looking, and that's really what Virgin Australia came to the table with. And I think them returning to profitability after, what did they say on stage?
I think it was 11 years, wasn't it?
Them returning to profitability, them getting to their their pre-COVID numbers, traffic levels over the last few years is really a sign that they've got a great leadership team in place. They were very focused on getting their network where they needed to be, getting their customer base where they wanted it to be, and ultimately getting the value proposition to their customers what they wanted to be. And for us, the profitability was a side effect of the fact that their leadership had such a view of what they wanted to achieve, and that's why for us the partnership with them is so critical, is because we really respect and admire what that entire team is doing.
One nice thing that was said on stage, I think it was very quickly referenced, was bring back a bit of Virgin magic. Everyone knows Virgin for being different. I think that was reference to, did he say a middle seat ballot or something? And that goes back to what you're saying about the size of feet and all that stuff. Doing something a bit different with your seats and in the retail. So that's an example already of something they're doing.
No, it really is, and that gets into the concept of the airlines want to do things that are not as traditional that we would consider, I just want to sell a ticket point A to point B. They know that to win in a very crowded marketplace, they have to engage their customers in a different way. They have to think differently about how they put that product on the shelves. And what he said about, I think he called it rapid rebook, the middle seat lottery, things like that, that's a very different way to engage their customers. And I love that we can help them with technology to enable those sorts of things.
Where are they on their journey? So they've already adopted a number of what you call the IQ, you have to explain this a bit, but the IQ products. So you can explain that. That's their initial step into Mosaic, but there's a long way to go, a lot more to do, isn't there?
Yeah, so what they've been working with us the last couple of years on are probably what more people would consider the next generation of revenue management technologies, which is really how airlines price, put together their products, control the inventory, those sorts of things. And so for us, that's what we would consider offer management or offer optimization. That's the
first step, is it? Get the offer sorted.
Yes, Virgin Australia decided that would be kind of their first foray into the offer, order, settle, delivery mantra, to use kind of T2RL's framework. They saw very near-term benefits in terms of customer conversion, what that could do for their bookings, especially through their digital channels, by investing in those sorts of tools around offer optimization. And really the conclusion they came to was, the more creative things we can do on the offer side, that's going to start creating pressure in our call centers or at our airports or in our accounting solutions as we come up with different ways to price and retail our products. And they came to the conclusion that long term, we're going to need to march into this world that T2RL is calling order management, IATA calls one order, et cetera. And so for us, that was the SabreMosaic order management suite. And so having a customer that was already working with us on the offer side, realizing there was an upper bound to the benefits they were going to get out of that, unless they started looking further down the road into.
It's the natural next step.
That's the natural next step.
You can't achieve what you want to achieve without taking the full step, really.
Yes.
And so that starts now, does it? That process of integrating that. What was said was that this isn't a kind of do everything all at once, and this will be talked about a lot in the next 2 days, is this transition period. And the question may be, do you ever get out of transition? But, because the next thing will come along after that. But is it the modularity that allows that transition to happen? Because what was said was you can be doing it in the old ways, say in the airport or in other channels, but on your direct channel, which I think was certainly the key for them, you can go into this new world very quickly.
Yeah, that's absolutely right. And stepping away from Virgin Australia for a moment and talking about the industry more broadly, if the case that these airlines are looking at is driven by retailing and ancillaries and loyalty redemptions and third-party content, those sorts of things, those are great on the commercial side of the business. Those are the sort of things that add complexity, perhaps, to the accounting side in the finance department, or complexity to the airport side, where they've now all of a sudden got to fulfill Wi-Fi on board and chicken sandwiches and all these things where perhaps their lives would be simpler if all they were doing was issuing boarding passes. Yeah. So that goes to the heart of the modularity of the systems that we've built in our building, is allowing that kind of phased transition. And like I said, stepping away from Virgin Australia, looking at the industry as a whole, that transition is going to take several years. All the airlines are in a different spot, and really getting all these parties who interact at arm's length through a set of legacy technologies, getting them all to modernize at the same time is frankly just not going to be possible. Yeah. And so that's why for us, investing in modularity and a phased transition is going to help everybody, because it'll allow airlines ultimately to move at their own pace.
Yeah. Before we started this, we worked out, we probably met here at 2 years, I think it was 2 years ago.
I think it was a couple of years ago, yeah.
Maybe 2. And we probably had a similar conversation, because the same themes, maybe it was pre-Google, was it? Or
I think it was right on the heels of our Google announcement,
maybe.
Yes.
Okay, so what's changed in that time then? I mean, how much progress has genuinely been made between 2 years ago when we sat in this very building and a chat about this and now?
No, great question. I will say, from the customer side, in terms of our airline customers, there is now an inevitability about this move to offer, order, settle, deliver. I think there was a lot of curiosity a couple of years ago, which informed us starting to invest in this space. For us, and seeing announcements like the one we made with Virgin Australia this week, it's an inevitability that airlines will need to modernize their technology. So whether you want to call that digital transformation, whether you want to lump it into what the offer, order, settle, deliver framework, whatever that is, I think now every airline we talk to, we're not having as many conversations about what's next for PSS. We're having many, many more conversations about what is your path to offer, order, settle, and deliver look like. And so for us, being able to, I look around the room here, not just what we're doing, but the other technology vendors, everyone is trying to get ahead of this and trying to understand, okay, all the airlines are going to move at different speeds. Who's ready now? Who's ready to make a decision? And who's going to be kind of later on that path, so that we can kind of appropriately have those conversations. Yeah,
it sounds like it's less of the what and now the how.
And
actually, this event kind of reflects the fact there's not just one way of doing it.
Yes.
There are other vendors dotted around this room who will be offering some of the things that you do, some things differently, and people will have to pick and choose what's best for them, I guess.
And ultimately, that's great for our customers. That's great for our customers' customers. That's really great for the marketplace. Is you can really have this kind of democratization of the technology.
Before we wrap up, just let's address the speed of change, because that's always a frustration, I think, in things like this. Lots of positive ideas about what tech can do, and then a frustration that it's not doing it quickly enough, not being adopted quickly enough, because at the end of the day, that's the key thing. We've seen how long it took for the NDC. We're going to have a session on it later on today. The NDC, short, swift, whatever you call it, transition has taken. Tell us it's not going to take that long to do the next step. And actually, is it going to be quicker because of the learnings of NDC, or is it going to be quicker because of partnerships like with Google, who are maybe known for maybe getting things out there a bit more quickly, having more sort of MVP, test and learn approach?
Yeah, no, really. So I'll address the second part first, which is our partnership with Google has really allowed us to accelerate how quickly we build, test, deploy technology. And also that point you mentioned about test and learn, experimentation, build MVPs, fail fast, all that. That's kind of the Google ethos, if you will. So us working with them, learning a lot from them about how you build technology has really, I would say, turned up the clock speed on how we can deploy and ultimately put the technology in our customers' hands. Yeah. As for the industry adoption, I will say it's going to take a while. And that's not just because of the technology providers, that's not because of any one particular party. It's the complexity of the systems today, how interwoven they all are, and really that long tail of adoption. When I think through, you mentioned NDC, but I'll go back even further. Do you remember the advent of e-ticketing?
Yes. Well, I don't remember it. I think I'm maybe just about too young, but I hear a legend of it, definitely.
Oh yeah,
it took a long old time.
I think it took 10 or 15 years for the last paper ticket to go away. And that was really because of this industry-wide issue of all the travel agents, all the GDSs, all the different airlines, all had to move for those legacy standards to go away. Yeah. NDC has gone a little bit faster, but yeah, there clearly have been challenges there in terms of adoption. And really what we're hoping to see is, if we come at this in terms of, here's the big IT project. As of this day, you've got to adopt or else your systems stop working. That's not the right way to approach this, and that's coming from a technology vendor. Really what we've seen is the best approach is for people to get excited about what are the things technology is enabling that they can't do today. What are the experiences they can open for their customers that are just really difficult in today's environment? Mm-hmm. The more we can get our airline customers excited about that, the quicker they want to adopt versus the kind of the resistance we see about, oh, but what am I going to do with this paper ticket? Things like that. So that's what we're trying to avoid.
Finally, just a quick word on what it's doing to your business as Sabre. You do represent, you're a GDS, you do represent, you have the legacy tech in your business, which you still support, but you're trying to forge the future as well. So how does it change the way Sabre operates and sees the future?
Sure. So I'll say at the core of our business, whether that's the traditional space around distribution, whether that's around reservation systems, even I think about what we do in network planning, pricing, and revenue management. We do have a very broad business across a whole set of different solution areas. At the core of our business is providing technology that help travelers engage in travel commerce. Yeah. So as we look towards the future, if we're not investing in those sorts of solutions that are going to enable the next version of travel commerce, we're going to fail in our mission. We're going to fail in terms of helping our customers succeed. And so for us, being where customers want to buy is important to us, whether that's the traditional channels, whether that's new ways to do business via NDC, offer management, dynamic pricing. If that's ultimately what customers value, that's where we're going to invest, because that's what it's going to mean for us to enable those experiences.
Yeah, I think obviously the really good news for the industry is customer demand seems to be there. I mean, there's certainly no dimming of it. COVID has come back.
No, T2RL showed some great things this morning about customer demand returning to the pre-pandemic levels. And really, when you think about what that means, that people want to get on planes, people want to see new things, people want to visit their friends, people want to engage in business around the world, like you and I are doing here today. That's great for airlines, that's great for technology providers, that's great for the whole industry.
Yeah, good. On that positive note, we'll wrap it up. Mike, thanks for joining us.
Absolutely.
At T2RLengage, and we'll see you again soon. Probably next year, I guess.
Probably next year. Thank you very much.
Cheers. Thank you.
Cheers.
Thriving in today's travel market is challenging. Travel content is fragmented, travelers want seamless experiences, and competition is fierce. That's why having the right technology partner is crucial. Sabre gives you the power of more content, efficiency, and innovation. As your business grows, you need a modern technology foundation to stand out. Sabre and Google partner to push the boundaries of innovation. Say goodbye to outdated systems and embrace intuitive agent interfaces and personalized experiences. From AI-powered solutions that tailor offers and optimize fares to the rapid launch of new multi-source products, we deliver innovations that drive customer loyalty and revenue. You need choice, all in one place. We're constantly expanding our multi-source marketplace to provide you with more content, including new NDC and traditional EDIFACT content, low-cost carriers, and lodging options. We handle the complexities of connecting to multiple suppliers, aggregating, orchestrating, and presenting content at scale, saving you time and resources. More bookings mean more management. Sabre streamlines your efficiency. Our travel booking platform, SabreRed360, offers intuitive workflows, while our post-booking automation solutions handle tedious tasks like schedule changes, freeing up your agents to focus on generating revenue. Want to build your own solutions? Sabre's APIs normalize travel content, enhance offers, and provide intelligent shopping, booking, and servicing capabilities. We manage the technical complexities so your engineering teams can focus on creating exceptional travel experiences, accelerating your time to market. Not only do we deliver more content, efficiency, and innovation, but we focus on your success. We understand your business needs and operational challenges, and we have local support and experience to build strong, enduring partnerships. Partner with Sabre today to get the technology and expertise you need to grow, do, and achieve more.